The moment the suspect realizes they're on camera. Occasionally, even the most intelligent criminals can overlook the fact that police stations are equipped with surveillance cameras that meticulously capture their every action and utterance, resulting in alarming situations. These cameras comprehensively monitor individuals within police stations, documenting their words and movements without exception. This exact scenario unfolded for Chris Watts, a husband and father of two who faced accusations of brutally ending the lives of his entire family. Unfortunately for Watts, his defense crumbled when he failed to remember that his actions were being continuously recorded on film. Consequently, he was charged with the murder of his wife and children due to an inadvertent lapse of awareness regarding the presence of the cameras. In 2013, Chris and his newly wedded wife bought a house, and at that time, they already had 2 children residing there. However, in August 2018, Chris made the choice to actively pursue a relationship with another woman named Nicole. Consequently, he decided to distance himself from his entire family. The couple had been engaged in fights for several weeks, but on August 13, 2018, a major confrontation occurred during an argument. These conflicts ultimately led to the tragic event where Shannon Lang was strangled and buried in a shallow grave in their garden, while his children were suffocated and confined in oil drums in an attempt to conceal the bodies of the deceased. Chris continued with his daily routine without acknowledging the chilling event that had taken place. However, it didn't take long for a friend to raise the alarm and report his family's disappearance, assuming the worst, that they had met their demise. Chris's family was believed to be deceased. In an apparent effort to feign surprise and disbelief, Chris went to great lengths, granting multiple interviews to news outlets where he pleaded for his family's safe return. Every aspect of this elaborate plan was carefully coordinated with the purpose of crafting the appearance that he was authentically taken aback and incapable of embracing the truth of the circumstances. Following the suspect's unsuccessful lie detector test while in police custody, an extensive 8-hour interrogation ensued. Initially maintaining his innocence and claiming ignorance regarding the whereabouts of certain individuals, Chris underwent numerous interviews and additional polygraph tests. However, he eventually made a critical error when he requested to speak with his father. Unaware that he was being recorded, Chris mistakenly believed that his conversation was private and unrestricted, assuming that his words carried no consequences. Contrary to his perception, as soon as he confessed his guilt to his father, the police officers re-entered the room and subsequently arrested him. Several months later, he found himself confronted with a verdict that sentenced him to spend the remainder of his existence behind bars. The judgment entailed serving 5 life terms consecutively, with no chance of ever being released on parole. Nonetheless, in instances where wrongdoers overlook the presence of surveillance cameras, law enforcement authorities often fail to obtain explicit admissions from the suspects. Frequently, it only necessitates someone's behavior to exhibit potentially criminal tendencies. Alternatively, the absence of the said behavior, as exemplified in the case of Dawson McGahee, can also be significant. Dawson's relatives always perceived him as an outsider, labeling him as the black sheep. During his childhood, he received homeschooling, which resulted in him never truly fitting in with his siblings. He frequently exhibited a contrary attitude towards them and engaged in frequent altercations. Dawson's peculiar behavior persisted even as he reached adulthood. His fascination with Halloween masks and horror movies grew, and he often wandered around the house at night, dressed in eerie costumes, adding to his unsettling demeanor. Despite the need for a change in his attitude and conduct, Dawson continued to reside with his mother in 2008. However, this arrangement only exacerbated his behavior. As he entered his 20s, he began displaying great disrespect towards his mother, prompting her to inform him that it was time for him to find his own place to live. Naturally, Dawson was furious and deeply angered by this turn of events. During Halloween evening in 2011, around 4:30 p.m., a horrifying incident unfolded when he viciously assaulted his mother, repeatedly stabbing her approximately 10 times in the neck and torso. Following the brutal act, he quickly left the scene. Just 30 minutes later, Caitlin, his sister, attempted to reach out to their mother but received no response, raising concerns. Troubled by this, Caitlin decided to contact the authorities the next day to report the incident. Soon after arriving at the location and forcefully entering her room, they made the chilling discovery of Kathleen's lifeless body lying on her bed. The investigation swiftly pointed towards their primary suspect as Dawson was apprehended the following day while wearing a jacket that bore visible stains of his mother's blood. It was this blood-stained jacket that ultimately led the authorities to him. Nevertheless, the most detrimental proof surfaced from his behavior during the police interrogation. Dawson came to the realization that his idiosyncratic habits and conduct could potentially serve as a basis for an insanity plea if he exaggerated his hysteria in front of the officers. Regrettably, this decision proved to be his pivotal mistake. Upon the detective's arrival, Dawson swiftly engaged in a peculiar display of hand movements and disjointed speech, creating a distinctive performance. Unbeknownst to him, the cameras recording the incident captured the precise instant when he altered his demeanor. Unveiling this footage proved crucial in convincing the journey of his mental soundness, leading to a substantial sentence of 15 years in prison. While it is quite amusing, it remains highly improbable for a wrongdoer to be completely unaware of being under surveillance. Therefore, what unfolds when they discover they're being recorded? The moment Russell Jones stepped into the room for his interrogation, he immediately noticed the camera that would meticulously capture every second of his presence in that space. Aaron Fryer, a devoted father with 3 children, tragically lost his life to a brutal attack with a baseball bat while he peacefully slept. This horrifying incident prompted a thorough investigation into Russell, who became the subject of a murder inquiry. During the questioning, the police had already apprehended 2 additional individuals as potential suspects in this heinous crime. One of them was Eileen Fryer, a 15-year-old girl, and the other was George, who was 19 years old and involved romantically with Ellen. Notably, Russell happened to be present when George and Ellen were taken into custody, leading to this inclusion in the interrogation process as well. Throughout the entire period of being held in custody by the police, Russell consistently fostered amicable connections with law enforcement officers. He openly acknowledged his overall unfavorable perception of law enforcement, yet he firmly believed that the specific officers he interacted with were commendable individuals. Due to their pleasant exchanges, the officers went as far as offering him refreshments and providing companionship during the interview process. Russell remained forthcoming about his own ventures in the business realm even during their journey to the police station. However, once he found himself alone with the camera, something seemed to change drastically. Following his interrogation by the police, Russell emerged as an individual of extraordinary peculiarity, and to put it bluntly, he appeared unmistakably guilty in the captured footage. Honestly, it's difficult for me to adequately articulate how peculiar his behavior was. In addition to engaging in both amusing and captivating monologues with himself, Russell astonishingly divulged factual information about the case while being in the sole presence in the room. Consequently, it didn't take long for the authorities to conclude his guilt. On the other hand, as a result of the odd and puzzling nature of his behaviors that were captured on the tape, it took them some time to figure out whether or not Russell could be legally categorized as mentally ill. Ultimately, a decision was reached to sentence him to a period ranging from 15 to 18 years in prison, while his co-defendants, deemed as the primary culprits of the crime, were each given a 25-year sentence. Even though it is extremely unlikely for criminals to remain unaware of surveillance cameras, the actions they take frequently give away their guilt. In the instances of Chris Watts, Dawson McGahee, and Russell Jones, the actions of the defendants were vital evidence that ultimately led to their downfalls and subsequent convictions. This evidence was collected by the observant cameras that were placed around the scene. The existence of surveillance cameras acts as a continual reminder that even the most cunning of criminals may unwittingly expose themselves to the vigilance of authorities. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a like and share with your friends and family. And also make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching.